Everyone is arguing about whether the Venezuela operation was justified. Some call it overdue, others call it dangerous. But almost no one is asking the most important question: why did this happen now, in this way and with these signals? Because when you look closely, this operation doesn't follow the usual playbook. This is not a breaking news recap. This is not speculation, and this is not a conspiracy rant. This video looks at verifiable facts, patterns from past interventions, and what usually follows when operations like this happen. Not predictions, probabilities. Here's what we do know. The United States carried out a high-risk operation targeting Venezuela's leadership. The operation was planned over a long period. It was executed quickly and decisively. Immediately after, messaging from US officials was not fully aligned. And globally, reactions were split, not unified. None of that is unusual on its own. What is unusual is how controlled, selective, and symbolic the move was. Here's the first question most coverage avoids. Why now? This wasn't a sudden opportunity. This wasn't a last-minute discovery. This wasn't a spontaneous decision. Situations like this usually sit on the table for years. So when action finally happens, timing matters more than justification. Historically, major geopolitical moves tend to cluster around election cycles, shifts in energy markets, rising global instability, or moments when attention is divided elsewhere. Timing doesn't prove motive, but it almost always signals strategy. The operation itself raises another quiet question. Why remove a figure but leave the system mostly intact? In many past interventions, removing a leader without dismantling the surrounding power structure leads to short-term shock, long-term standoff, and extended leverage battles behind the scenes. That doesn't mean the goal was regime change. In fact, historically, it often means the opposite. It suggests the objective may be pressure, not replacement. Now look at what happened after the operation. Public messaging split into two tones. One side used strong language, dominance, control, warnings. Another side emphasized restraint, no occupation, no direct governance. At first glance, this looks like contradiction, but in geopolitical terms, it's often role separation. One voice applies pressure, another leaves the door open. That pattern shows up repeatedly in high-stakes standoffs. Not chaos, coordination through contrast. Here's where many viewers underestimate what's happening. Modern power isn't always exercised through troops or headlines. It's exercised through economic access, shipping routes, financial permissions, energy markets, diplomatic recognition. In situations involving Venezuela, oil is never background noise. It's the control dial. You don't need to announce leverage for it to work. You only need to make its existence clear. Historically, this kind of pressure favors long games, not quick victories. If you map similar events across decades, not opinions, just outcomes, a few patterns show up repeatedly. Removing a leader rarely resolves the situation. Systems outlast individuals. Pressure phases come before transition phases. The most decisive moves often happen after public attention fades. This is why analysts don't ask who won right away. They ask who gained leverage, who lost optionality, who is now reacting instead of acting. Those answers take time. So here's the question no one is really asking. Was this operation meant to end something or to begin a new phase of control? Because those are very different objectives. And history suggests that when an operation avoids full escalation, preserves existing structures, sends mixed public signals, and keeps economic levers intact, it's rarely the final move. It's usually the opening position. This story isn't about one arrest. It's about what happens after the cameras move on. And the next meaningful signal won't come from speeches. It'll come from policy shifts, market behavior, diplomatic alignment, and who suddenly becomes very quiet. That's what to watch. If you want calm, analytical breakdowns of global events, not hype, not panic, subscribe. Because the real story usually starts after the headline.